It's not symmetrical. Symmetrical is, you can't achieve that degree of symmetry just by eyeballing it and doing it by hand. And it's also something that's not really human. I think some of these statues almost look a bit inhuman because of that symmetry when they're up there and they're staring at you, because it's mind-blowing to actually go and look at them. But it's the other aspect is the most efficient way to create that would be to say, well, if you were going to design it in a computer, it's like, well, I'm going to create half this face in a program and map it out, and then I'm just going to reverse it and say, well, that's the other half. It's literally the most efficient way to do it. And that's kind of what we're seeing in some of these statues.
Go back to that image, please.
It's virtual perfection.
And what's the explanation for this that modern archaeologists use?
They did it by hand, right?
They do it by hand. That's literally what they say. You just don't, they're not engineers and construction experts at the end of the day. That's the problem so it's very difficult to engage them on those specific details. And I've taken many engineers, master stonemasons, stone carvers, construction guys, and a lot of them see it immediately. People that understand what it takes to both work in this material and to work at the scale that some of this stuff is worked in. They see it immediately, and they just dismiss the idea that this was done with literally pounding stones and, copper chisels. It's a funny thing. They insist those things are how they were done, but not once, no one ever has cut a single big slab of granite the size of a refrigerator in half. We've never gone that far. No one's demonstrated that, yep, you can take a copper bar and sand and grind your way through a refrigerator-sized block.
And you're saying copper because we think that they didn't have steel back then.
They didn't. Well, they didn't, and not until later. There's no evidence for it. There's evidence for copper and bronze.
There's no evidence for it when we're talking about 2500 BC.
Exactly.